Chapter 10. Look out for slide rules. Albert Lasker, the dean of advertising men, had little respect for research. The story is told that when American Tobacco considered changing the green Lucky Strike package to white, Lasker knew in his bones that the white was right. Nevertheless, American Tobacco told him to research it. Lasker went downstairs. He showed the two packages to a girl in the lobby of his building. She picked the white one. "I've done the research," Lasker told his client. "The white one won." The closest I ever came to doing something like that myself was joking about it. Dr. Larry Deckinger, our vice president in charge of research, and I were on a train to Cincinnati. He told me someone at Procter & Gamble had questioned the coverage of one of his studies. Did it cover a broad enough area? Keep going through the train and asking your questions, I told Larry. Then you can tell P&G you covered a big cross-section of the country, 3 important states. Not Larry, no real researcher would. Advertising without research is a ship without a rudder. No one has a higher regard for research than I have. It is only when it becomes a crutch instead of a stepping stone that I object. When it does your thinking instead of making you think, I oppose it. Remember, research cannot produce brilliance, it can only affirm it. So soar high and wide for your big idea. Then turn it over to research to find out the pros and cons. Give your ship this rudder, it needs it. But don't accept research as your final answer. Don't let it lull you to sleep. Research tells you what the public thinks. It doesn't tell you what to do about it. That's your job. I often overruled research and used my judgment instead. Don't count on textbooks to make you an advertising man. What you need most, you have to be born with. No textbook can give you the verve, the imagination, the flair for showmanship that can make an ad man great. I don't mean to dispose in one short paragraph of all textbooks. You can learn about type and printing and engraving, about media, layouts, research, merchandising, and a lot of other things. You can study psychology. You can read case histories to find out how others succeeded or failed. But all the textbooks ever printed can't make a good ad man. A person learns much from reading a book on the paintings of Picasso, but when he's all through, can he paint the pictures? You have to begin by being an advertising man. Then if you want to, add from textbooks to your heart's content. We had 2 jobs to do simultaneously in the research department. One was for Philip Morris cigarettes, the other for Procter & Gamble's Joy. One said, "No cigarette hangover." The other said, "Instant dishwashing." Out went our research men to find out whether the public would buy them. They called on enough people in a sufficient number of cities to bring in the answer. This is what we got. 1. They don't understand no cigarette hangover. 2. They don't go for instant dishwashing. Surprising as it might seem, while both of these conclusions seem to point the same way, we use them in opposite ways. The public said to us, "Forget instant dishwashing. It's clear, we understand it, but we reject it completely." About no cigarette hangover, they said, "We don't understand it, so we can't vote for it." We took both of these as pointers and started to work. We dropped instant dishwashing for the obvious reasons and came up with something the public wanted. We took no cigarette hangover, and because we knew its value, brought the explanation so close that people would get it at a glance. In both instances, research worked for us, and in both instances, it paid off. It's just what I said before. Research indicates what the public is thinking, but what you do with it is up to you. I guess there are 2 ways to know a new idea is right. One is research. The other is feeling. A feeling so intense that your face turns red with excitement. Advertising, more than any other business, runs by emotion. You cannot prove it logically, but you can prove it emotionally. To check up on your idea or your feeling or your instinct, call it what you like. You may still want to research it. But sometimes judgment has to count for more. Some ideas, and some of the best, cannot be researched at all. Johnny's call for Philip Morris was one of those ideas. Until people had actually heard it and heard it over and over, how could research reveal the terrific impact it was destined to make? An even better example, because it was the key to the whole Listerine campaign, is halitosis, one of the outstanding ideas used in advertising. You have the idea and you'd like to research it, but you know perfectly well halitosis will never show well in research because nobody's ever heard of it. The best research could tell you was to define the word every time you used it, and that you knew anyhow. And what about wristwatches? If you had really put the research department to work years ago finding out whether men would wear wristwatches, the answer would have come back. Decidedly, no. Men liked pocket watches. They were ashamed of wristwatches. They were feminine. But look at them now. So, if you believe in your idea, if your instinct tells you it's right, go ahead. Don't throw it away simply because research cannot support you. Good ideas are much too precious. Oscar Hammerstein II once said, "There is no limit to the number of people who can stay away from a bad show. And I might add that there is no limit to the number of people who will stay away from bad advertising. Above all else, make sure your idea is right. Don't bank on the hope that spending enough money on it will make it work. Spending a lot of money on a wrong idea merely compounds a felony. When $1,000 proves not in advertising, $1 million will be not again. 1 times not or 1,000 times not brings out the same answer, but the latter is more expensive. If you study products that are a success now, products spending millions of dollars for advertising, you can bet that even when they started, spending far less, they had a right idea. It was basically the idea, not the dollars alone, that took them home. To get the idea right and then to make sure it stays right is the responsibility of good advertising men. It seems quite obvious to say that people who do not see your advertisement cannot be sold by it. That's easy. But don't let it fool you. You need to know more than just how many people see it for dollars spent to decide if your advertisement is right. An advertisement that reached only half as many people might have sold more goods, simply because the idea it used was more powerful, moved more of the people who did see it to action. In short, how many people see it is only part of the answer. To measure the success of your advertisement, you would need to know the amount of goods it sold. That's all that counts. How much did it sell? So, take this warning. Don't be misled when your research department reports that more people saw your ad, or even read your ad, than anyone else's. It's a fool's paradise. One day we were talking with Martin Strauss of Eversharp about Stop the Music. We had encouraged Martin to sponsor Take It or Leave It, which had a great deal to do with the success of the Eversharp company. Then he bought over my protests Stop the Music, which was a good show in some terms but was not highly rated by our research department for the nation as a whole. Martin wanted to defend his purchase to his board of directors. As Larry Deckinger came into the room, Strauss said, "Larry, here's what I want you to prove." I interrupted. "Just a minute, Martin. Don't tell our research department what you want them to prove. Our sales department does the promoting. But I want my research department to turn up facts, and you should want that too." That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to check our link in the description, where you'll find many other fundamental marketing books in different languages. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more persuasion and direct response content. See you in the next one.